Rebuilds don't fail overnight, they stall. And when they stall, the most dangerous moment isn't missing the playoffs, it's losing trajectory. That's where Philadelphia is right now. Not collapsing, not tanking, but drifting backward after briefly moving forward. So, the real question is simple. Has the Flyers' rebuild lost momentum? And if so, who owns that slide? Early in the season, Philadelphia outperformed expectations. They banked wins, they hovered near the playoff line. The energy around the team changed. For a rebuilding club, that's powerful, but it's also dangerous. Because once you show progress, the standard shifts, patience shrinks. The rebuild is no longer theoretical, it's measurable. Then, the offense dried up. The power play slipped near the bottom of the league. Goal production fell into the lower third. The team didn't implode, it regressed. And regression in a rebuild creates pressure, especially on the coach. Rick Tocchet isn't under pressure because Philadelphia is rebuilding. He's under pressure because the team looks worse than its internal ceiling. This roster isn't elite, but it's also not bottom-tier talent. When a team with credible young skill ranks near the bottom on the power play and sits in the bottom third in goals scored, the tactical lens turns towards the bench. Special teams are coaching, role allocation is coaching, offensive identity is coaching. And when those areas stagnate simultaneously, questions become structural. Matvei Michkov complicates the equation. He's not just another young player, he's the organization's most important long-term asset. His reduced ice time this season matters less for optics and more for signal. In a rebuild, development is the real product. If the offense struggles and your most dynamic scorer isn't being maximized, the conversation sharpens. This isn't about conflict, it's about calibration. Can Tocchet maintain structure while accelerating his most talented piece? Because the rebuild only works if high-end assets grow inside it. Now look at the deadline situation. Philadelphia has over 30 million in projected cap flexibility. They're not boxed in, they're not desperate, they're positioned. The likely outgoing pieces, depth forwards and bottom pair defenders, suggest asset recycling. And the real target is a young defenseman with legitimate top 4 potential. Because beyond Cam York and Jamie Drysdale, the Flyers don't have a clear long-term top 4 backbone. Travis Sanheim is established, but likely past his developmental peak. If a young defender becomes available, someone with runway and room to grow, Brière will be aggressive. A profile similar to Anaheim's Pavel Mintyukov, talented, young, possibly miscast elsewhere, fits this direction. That would be a structural addition that tells you the real timeline. Brière is unlikely to sacrifice assets for a symbolic playoff push. He's not converting this deadline into a 2-month experiment. The real risk isn't missing the postseason. It's confusing a bubble chase with structural progress. If you accelerate too early, you distort the timeline. That's how rebuilds lose discipline. The mandate is clear. Move depth for picks, protect high-end prospects, preserve cap flexibility. Add pieces that peak with the core, not before it. If Philadelphia acquires a young top 4 defenseman, that's a declaration of intent. That's alignment. So where does that leave Tocchet? His pressure isn't about wins. It's about whether the team still looks like it's building something. Early in the season, there was lift. Recently, there's been flattening. When offense stalls, the power play sinks and young talent doesn't visibly accelerate, the friction lands on the coach. The Olympic break wasn't a deadline, it was a checkpoint reset. From here, the Flyers don't need a surge, they need signals. A power play that adapts, roles that maximize talent, clear upward movement. Because in a rebuild, stagnation is louder than losing. And if progress doesn't resume, the question won't be about the standings, it will be about who restores direction. If this made sense to you, you're in the right place. This is iSense.